Hi and good day everyone. My name is Bongani Enoch Nis and welcome to my YouTube channel, a platform where I can share the word of the Lord with you, and I hope and pray that as you listen to this next message that you shall be greatly blessed by the word of the Lord in Jesus' mighty name. That's my prayer, and also that's my greeting to everyone. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, after hearing this message, don't forget to share it with your world. Today, I want to help people to just take their testimonies seriously and also consider the testimonies that God has given unto them. That every testimony that God grants you, everything that God does for you is not only a testimony, but it is also a proof of what God has done, what He's been doing, and what He's still able to do. Because testimonies are those proofs of God's power, of God's love and mercy in our lives. And these are things that we must keep. These are things that are beneficial for us, that are beneficial for our today, that are beneficial for even our tomorrow. And right now I'm going to open a Psalm 77, and we're going to read the scripture and understand what the psalmist is saying. I'm going to read Psalm 77 from verse 10. Listen to what he says. He says, "And I said this in my anguish, but I will remember the years of the right hand of the Most High. I will remember the works of the Lord. Surely I will remember your wonders of old." Verse 12, "I will also meditate on your work and talk of your deeds." Listen to the writer or the psalmist. In this time, there are difficult moments that are taking place in their lives. And as this is taking place, he is also asking questions in the same psalm. He says, will the Lord forget to be gracious? Where is that grace that we once saw? Will the Lord forget to be gracious unto us? Will the Lord not remove all the things that are taking place? Because we have seen great things before. But listen to what he says. He says, in my anguish, I'm speaking and saying all these things. In my frustrations, I'm declaring these things. I'm saying all these things. But he says right now, the action that I'll take, and this is what he says from verse 10. He says, in my anguish, I said all these things. I said all these negative things while I'm going through difficulty, while I'm going through all that I'm going through. But he says right now, what the action that I'll take is that I will meditate on your works of old. I will consider what you have done before. I will look at the works of old and study them and meditate on them, because he understands that as he meditates on those works, there is something that he's going to receive. It's like he's going to be reintroduced to God again. He's going to be reintroduced to the grace of God again. He's going to be reintroduced to the power of God again. He will be reintroduced to the works of God. And so by doing that, he's meditating so that he can find God again in those testimonies. And that's the thing that I want to remind us of, that there are times where we need to meditate on the testimonies and the works of God of old, because it is the same Lord and God who is the same yesterday, today, and even forevermore. And he does not change. That we must understand that God does not change, that there are certain things that we must not question when it comes to God and his doings, but we rather have to meditate on his works and meditate on his deeds. That means we must look at how he moved, how he worked certain miracles, how he worked certain things in our lives and granted us a marvelous and a joyous testimony. The reason why we need to meditate on the works of old and meditate on what God has done from the scriptures and even in our personal lives is so that we can understand that as we enter today and as we enter tomorrow, we are entering with the same God, that he will never leave us nor forsake us, that in fact he's willing to do even greater because he has revealed to us what he's able to do. Let's look at the account of David. At some point, David had to face Goliath, and before he faced Goliath, he stood before Saul, and they tried to put an armor on him, and then he couldn't fit into it, and then he relegated it or put it aside, and then he said, I will use what I'm used to. I'll use the sling that was given unto me, because this is how I captured all my testimonies. And they asked him, what will be done concerning this giant? How will he do all these things? And then he says, he rather pulls from the archives. He revisits history and he goes back and says, the God who rescued me from the lion and the bear will rescue me from this uncircumcised Philistine. He is saying, I will use my testimony of old, that right now as I'm fighting something, a beast, a person that is mysterious unto me. I don't know what power that they have. I don't know what resources that they have. I don't know what is sponsoring them and how powerful that they are. But one thing I will consider when I enter this battle is is that I will go back to my God. I will go back to my testimonies of old, where I found victory. That is where I'll start God from. And he says, the God who delivered me from the lion and the bear is now going to deliver me, is now going to deliver me into my today, into my now. And in other words, he's going to use the God and the grace of yesterday into his future, into his present right now. And right now, that's what I want to say to some people, that it is time that we not only just be discouraged about certain things, but that we meditate on the testimonies of old, because it's the same name that is going to bring down a new Goliath in your life. That it is the same things that is going to bring down every new enemy and every new thing, because it is the same Lord and God. The only difference is that God will invest himself or reveal himself in a greater and mightier way based on your revelation of what you have known, because it is the God that you know that you'll be able to display, is the God that you know that you'll be able to walk with. I encourage you, meditate on the testimonies of old. Consider all that God has done for you in every area of life, and call upon him right now in all difficulties, in all seasons, and in all that you pass through, and watch how God, like David, will grant you a new victory based on your CV, based on what